Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to Lovin Dubai show, where we go through all of the trending stories that everyone in Dubai is talking about. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, TikTok. We see you, Twitter. We're going to jump into our top story. Trending in the UAE, of course, is the first case of monkeypox has been confirmed in the UAE.
Well, of course, we're talking about yesterday's sandstorm as well that reduced visibility to less than 100 meters in some areas.
The story about the young man who has been arrested for a social media stunt gone wrong.
As well as UAE residents to get 4 days off for Eid al-Adha, which is the dates we'll give you in just a bit.
And do stay tuned, because we're going to be joined by Phil Griffiths, who is the award-winning director of a COVID-19 Dubai documentary, the ins and outs of this kind of really incredible, phenomenal, scary time period that we all lived through, and he's documented it in a stunning way. So do stay tuned for that later in the show. But before we get into all of that, Simran, you kind of had a bit of a technological fumble yesterday.
Yes.
And I feel your pain.
Really? Do you? Have you ever left your phone at home?
I would go back. I would never actually go through the whole
day
without my phone.
So I thought I could make it, and I did make it without my. So I forgot my phone at home yesterday morning, and I was being judged hardcore by the entire team. Like,
you know what I really judged?
Yeah.
So like, forget your phone, fine. She didn't notice she forgot her phone until you got into the office. How long is your journey?
So if I take a cab, it's like roughly 25 minutes, and I sleep.
Do you literally get in, closed door, like eye patch on, sleep in the taxi?
I can fall asleep anywhere, like that. And I fell asleep, I woke up, and I'm just like, oh, nice, because you know, you just tap and you get off. Like, you don't need your phone for that. And then I get in, and I'm like searching through my bag for my phone, couldn't find it. I'm like, okay, it's at home, it's done, it's gone. So I spent the entire day without my phone. It was, I don't know, it just felt like a big part of me was missing. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I didn't know where to look. I just
My food came and I didn't know what to do, and there was like no one to take a photo of it.
Exactly.
But on the same day, I think yesterday you shared the story that like in New York they removed all phone boxes from Times Square Center, and I feel like that's such a timestamp that people remember, like the day that we fully rely on digital technology.
Honestly, like I never thought something like that would happen, like payphones just completely going off roads, because I get as digital as we are getting and as much as we're developing, like some things just stay with us, you know, like I would think payphones would be one of those things in cases of emergency, when you would use a payphone and you don't have your phone on you, or you've lost it, or it's stolen and need to make a call. Like, how would you do it?
So public. I'd be in there with my sanitizer now since COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess they could have just introduced COVID, like, you know, like a sanitizer in the booths or something like that, but just like removing it altogether. But I don't know, I would think for emergency cases, you should have something like that.
And you felt that yesterday.
Felt it.
But you remembered it today.
Yes. Never again.
It'll be a timestamp on her mind. Let's jump into our top stories. By the way, have you lost your phone? Could you survive without it for 12 hours? Because I cannot believe you got till... She went to a movie as well. You got until like, what, 11 o'clock last night without your phone?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. Let's jump into our top story, of course. The story that went live yesterday, the first case of monkeypox has been confirmed in the UAE. So the Ministry of Health and Prevention has announced the first case of monkeypox in the UAE. As we were saying, it was shared on Instagram yesterday. It was shared by many publications, but the news initially came from the Ministry of Health and Prevention, MOHAP. Apparently the woman was, it's a 29-year-old woman in which the first case was reported. She had come from a West Africa country, and they have noted that she is receiving the necessary medical care.
Exactly. Now, UAE health authorities are taking all the necessary measures, including investigation, examination of contacts, and monitoring their health. It has called on people to obtain information only from official sources and to avoid spreading rumors and false information.
Because with COVID, so many rumors will come out about this, so much false information. So only get your information directly from the source. Everything that we're sharing with you today came from MOHAP, which is the
Ministry of Health and Prevention.
Thank you. And they've also got into further detail about treatment and vaccination. So first of all, how to prevent it, which of course is the key information that we want to share with you today, how you can prevent it. In light of internal reports on reported cases, they're saying it is recommended to avoid unprotected sex. They said avoid physical contact with infected individuals and do not share personal items such as beds and towel linen. So if you're living a shared accommodation, be very, very careful about the kind of, materials that you're using. Wear gloves and the necessary personal protective equipment when caring for patients. So that's if you're working in a hospital situation. Wash your hands regularly. We learned that from COVID. 20-second rule. Happy birthday. Keep washing those hands. Cook all animal products well before consumption.
Or don't eat them at all.
Or cook them well before consumption. And wear gloves and protective clothing when approaching sick animals. So obviously that is a summary, and it means that of course it could be transmitted from sick animals, it could come from the food you're eating, and it could also come from very, very close contact with other individuals or materials. So just watch the hygiene.
Exactly. And now we'll be talking about treatment and vaccination. Now, most cases resolve spontaneously, and symptoms usually cease within 2 to 4 weeks. And antiviral drug can be used for severe cases for a limited period of time. Now, the third generation of the smallpox vaccine, which is not widely available, can be used after exposure or infection to prevent the spread of the disease. Now, of course, we have just one case reported in the UAE. That is, how things can just escalate from there, or of course the UAE will have it under control. But you want to take all those precautions for yourself, for your loved ones, and just make sure it's just the basics. Literally, wear a mask, social distance. It's back to the COVID basics. So if we stick to that, it's like for now, at least we can ensure our safety bubble until medication is out for its medical prevention.
And it is interesting because later on in the show we're going to have Phil Griffiths, as we said, who is the director of a COVID-19 Dubai documentary, and it'll be interesting to get his insights on kind of like what it was like to watch kind of everything up close and personal. And I think COVID-19 has made us nervous. When they start reporting cases, it's just like that innate sense of nervousness that's within me now. I'm thinking, surely it's not going to go back to that, and I don't think it is. I don't think we need to panic in that way, especially here in the UAE. They're monitoring the situation super duper closely, and any information that comes directly from UAE sources will bring it directly to you. But let's jump into the next story. We're talking all things sandstorms.
Yes, we are. How could we not, Casey? Now that's our thing. So yesterday, the sandstorm reduced visibility to less than 100 meters in some areas. So the National Center of Meteorology, which is the NCM, issued an alert to warn residents of the hazardous weather that took the UAE by storm, quite literally. And they reported windy conditions will persist, with spreads reaching 45 kilometers per hour. Now, of course, as dusty weather is expected to stay all week long, and this has resulted in red alert going on through Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Sharjah. So make sure you take all those necessary precautions to save yourself when you're outdoors. You do wear your masks. And I had friends yesterday who just wanted to go and play sports outdoors in this weather.
And what did we say yesterday? No outdoor exercising. Honestly. We do know that the air is potentially hazardous at the moment. So air purifiers at home, wear your mask, keep those windows shut. It's just super, super dusty out there. I don't know. I know I don't want to be inhaling anything that's overly dusty, and it just feels cloggy. It's just a blip in our usually nice weather map. It will pass, but is expected to last throughout the week. So just keep those windows closed, and maybe avoid the outdoor exercising.
Of course. And yesterday it looked, I don't know if you looked outside with shades on, that too with tint, it looked quite apocalyptic.
Sorry. What were you doing indoors with your shades on, looking out?
Just wanted to see the outside with a tint.
It looked quite apocalyptic.
Very apocalyptic.
How do I say it?
Apocalyptic?
Apocalyptic.
It was just like a red haze and sand everywhere. I'm like, whoa.
Look, you didn't even need. Now, we have seen all of those videos going viral in Kuwait and Iraq of the serious orange thick haze busting through. We didn't see it to that extent. But of course, we will be the first to notify you if it does come through. Our DMs are flooded with your videos, and we love to get them. We love to receive your messages. We love to kind of know exactly what's going on in the city at every given moment. I feel like we're really like at a Gossip Girl thing when people send us in things. They're like, this is happening. One video we did get this morning, which we shared, is that people are rubbishing on Kite Beach rubbishing. They're like throwing their rubbish. It's not okay. We shared one video and it's already got a good response from you guys. People just leaving trash, and like they've had their picnic and they've just left it behind. But the surf school who shared it, I don't have their exact name, but we can share it later. They are, from that video, they're also going to organise a beach cleanup, and we'll share that information. So we love getting your stories through because it gives us a platform to share them with the audience, the important stories, obviously.
Of course.
However, speaking of sharing stories that are not needed on social media, our next story is a young man who's been arrested for a social media stunt. Do not try this at home. Just because something is happening on social media does not mean you need to recreate it, because this is a social media stunt gone wrong. He's a 21-year-old man. He created a video of himself doing stunts on a quad bike on a Dubai road. The video went viral and he has since been arrested.
Now, the stunt took place on Dubai road. He actually had an accident. The bike flipped, he was injured, and he fled the scene. Now, Dubai police caught up with him just hours after the video went live.
As the story goes, he didn't have a license. He was endangering others, and he fled the scene. So, by the way, he is he's safe. He's not, critically injured. He fled the scene, but he will be held accountable by Dubai police. I'm not sure. It must have been a live video, but this is the information that we have. So I'm just kind of going to guess a little bit. It must have been live if police were able to catch him within 4 hours, or he got home and he was like, "I think we're going to post that," which I couldn't even fathom.
Honestly.
So doing flips on a quad on a Dubai road. Quad flips, he gets injured, he flees the scene, obviously endangering people around him. Why you would video yourself?
I mean, I think in the past there were plenty of videos like this that went viral. So of course people, like the saying, do it for the Vine.
The Vine, yeah.
Like it was a thing, I think 2 years ago or something, before TikTok and all those things.
The 6-second videos, the Vines, yeah.
Like do it for the Vine, do it for the Vine. And people would do the craziest things.
People say do it for the gram when they're like, fixing things on a table. It just hurts my heart. I hate it so much.
Honestly, so I feel like that is the same energy, like just do it for the Vine and, pay for the consequences later on. So he did get caught and now it's just...
Ali, the man behind the camera, he had the same term. He said clout, like you're doing it for clout. And it's like, it may be silly, but whoever is following you on social media, but like it's not funny. Like endangering people's lives is not funny. Stunts involving fast vehicles, I just don't think are funny. And you can create content. The problem with some content creators is that you're creating something that goes viral and then you need to do the next thing. And it's a conversation that we've had with different types of influencers and content creators that have come through our doors. And that there is, rightly or wrongly, there is a pressure on them to creating engaging content. And if they don't get a lot of views, they're thinking, how can I do this? But we had Iman, who is the TikToker who does, his original video that went viral is like, what do you do for a living?
Yes.
He makes great content, really smart kid. He asks, he goes up and does Vox Box with people, so he goes out and about, asks questions. You can make cool content without endangering other people's lives.
Very true.
You don't need to break the law, you just need to be smarter.
Content that makes a difference, that should be a thing.
Impactful content?
Exactly. That's what influencers should be all about, impactful.
But we are to blame because how often are we actually consuming that impactful content and be like, I'm going to share this with my friends? Because realistically, the majority of us on Instagram, I'm more likely to share
the absurd
the millionaire car, what he does for a living, as opposed to if I see an influencer or content creator going out cleaning a beach, amazing, well done you, but am I sharing it? No, and if I'm not sharing it, it's not going to get as many views. So they have to find that level of but yeah, 100% they should be. We should all be.
At the end of the day, you're. And
we should be.
It is consumer consumption. At the end of the day, that is the biggest key factor. We are to blame, 100%. And it's also the fact that when someone does record themselves doing something good, they get backlash for it immediately.
That's so true.
Why are you recording yourself? If you're doing something good, then don't record it. It shouldn't be for the gram. It should be for yourself. It should be for the people. Are you doing it? And then they get questioned, are you doing that for the cloud? So it's people. That's so true. You can't win.
You cannot win on social media. We are there with you every day in the comments. It's impossible. You say you like oranges. People get upset about grapes. However, speaking of content that is going to put a smile on people's faces.
Is this now UAE residents to get 4 days off for Eid al-Adha from July 9th to 12th. Now, literally the one thing all of us residents want right now is a vacation. Can I get a hallelujah or amen?
Amen.
One of those.
I have a vacation next week, so I'm not going to... well, it's a work vacation.
It's not a vacation, like
It's a work trip to Mexico. It's fine.
You're working really hard.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You're doing amazing. Mexico, Mexico, living your life. And with that, here is your long weekend alert. So, of course, you can mark your calendars for Saturday 9th to Tuesday 12th of July because that's when Eid al-Adha is expected to fall.
So basically, that means it's going to be a 4-day weekend for public and private sectors if they're aligned in the UAE for Eid al-Adha 2022.
Now, this will be the second last long weekend in the UAE, and the next one will fall on December 1st to 3rd to mark Mother's Day. And I think that that as well is going to be a 4-day break. So it's interesting. So this is one of the second last long weekends. So enjoy it.
Enjoy it, look forward to it, make plans, get those days off to take the full week off maybe.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
Well, we have to do it, so we have to be aligned. So whoever gets the email in first.
Casey, don't touch your laptop.
I just need to check something for work.
No,
but does that how it work? Is that how it works in your offices? So we've realized that we need to be working similar to like on a holiday at the same time, basically, because we're too valued. So one of us has to be here. But at the moment, it's first come, first served basis.
You know, Casey, no. You're going to Mexico, but it's for work. I mean, it's for work.
Mexico doesn't count. It's a work vacation.
Right.
Let me just... No, I'm joking. I have no plans to holiday in July. I actually have plans to holiday in August.
August? Mm-hmm. I feel like I want to take August now, but is your email already gone in?
I haven't told you when I'm going. So why do you want to go in August?
I don't know. I feel like I'm more of an August holiday taker than a July holiday.
August is my birthday month.
I know exactly.
Why would you? I've given you Eid. I'm just saying take Eid. Fine, I'll take Eid then. You go in August. Grand.
No, we'll talk about it after the show.
Well, my email's just gone. So, guys, do stay tuned. In about 2 minutes, we're going to be joined. I have my email open. We're going to be joined by Phil Griffiths, the award-winning director of COVID-19 Dubai. It's an incredible, stunning documentary. It's just been released and it's well worth a watch. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Lovin Dubai Show. Joining us today is the award-winning director of COVID-19 Dubai, creating a piece of work that will live on as a testament to the trials and tribulations we face during what is arguably the most difficult period of our lives. Welcome to the show.
Woo! Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit more about your documentary and those watching right now.
So the documentary started over 2 years ago. In fact, we were brought in by Discovery and Dubai Media Office to kind of document Dubai's experience with the pandemic, which obviously is a pretty big scope of work because nobody really knew what was going on, what would happen or whatever. So yeah, what we did is we focused on certain key areas, the strategy area, which was like the leadership and how they made a load of decisions and so on. The business area in terms of how they reacted to a lot of the various kind of scenarios and so on, pretty unprecedented situation, the community. And then obviously we went to the hospitals and followed around the doctors and the patients and their families and things like that. So yeah, it was quite a journey.
So my timeline for COVID is just whack. Like I cannot tell you when it started, when it finished. But I won't ask for dates. But 2 years ago, where were we at that point in Dubai? Because Dubai has had like highs and lows. Like we had like strict lockdown, and then we had like out before the rest of the world. So when you arrived, when you started, where were we?
It was around the kind of strict lockdown sort of time when it was at its absolute peak, which is why it was such a brave thing actually for Dubai Media Office and Dubai to let us, get all this access. So we went into 3 different hospitals, their ICU units, and we were allowed into a lot of the kind of decision making and so on with the strategy guys and everything. And so and then we thought we had kind of got through it after the first wave, and then it was all kind of chill time, and then suddenly bang, the second wave came along. We were like, we kind of have to go back again and tell that story. So that's why it kind of went on for as long as it did, because the story wasn't really finished after the first wave.
So Dubai Media Office roped you in, and that's incredible. So do you know which project of yours they saw and they're like, you know what, this director, like only he can do justice to this documentary that we're planning on making?
I think it came from Discovery, because we work with the likes of Discovery we quite often get commissioned by those channels. So I think what happened is the media office kind of spoke to Discovery, and they were like, okay, who can kind of do this job? And yeah, fortunately / unfortunately, in certain situations, like it was us. So,
well,
yeah.
Speaking about fortunately, unfortunately, key workers were going to work in the hospitals. Scary time for anyone. Even if you were going out to deliver food, you're considered a hero because it's so scary. You were going into the hospitals at that time. Like, what was that like? First of all, what was it like for you personally? And then what was it like seeing the worst? Because that's probably what you were documenting.
Yeah, it was strange. On one hand, it's my job, and like you get an opportunity to document a pandemic.
Piece of time.
I mean, it's huge. It's such a privilege, right, to be able to be involved in something like that. But then on the other side, so the first thing you do is like, right, I'm in, perfect. And then suddenly you're putting on the kind of hazmats, and you're like, okay, this is like real. And then you start meeting like the doctors and you don't, obviously a lot of the patients are kind of sedated and so on, but their families and so on. And you start, and then there's one side of it where as the director, you're kind of painting a picture, looking at your monitor and you're going, right, I need that shot to tell that part of the story. I need to speak to that person to tell that part of the story. So you're piecing it together like a puzzle, but then you kind of get home and you realize the kind of reality of what you've actually been through and the stories that you're telling. So it was quite emotional. But then to be honest with you, we were only going in for a certain amount of time. To be a doctor or a nurse or the actual family within all of that, it was kind of a snapshot into, I mean, crikey, honestly, words can't really express what they've done and so on. It was genuine privilege.
Very brave of them, and you as well. But you said it was quite emotional. So, is there any one memory that you have of this experience that's really stuck with you and don't think you'll forget?
In terms of
just going
good,
in,
bad, indifferent.
Both. Like, do you have any that really would stick with you for, I mean, like, a couple of years to come?
Yeah, crikey. There's honestly so many, but I suppose still on the hospital front, we would go in some mornings, and obviously one or two patients might not be there anymore that we had filmed with the day before, and so kind of getting used to that was pretty full on. But what we wanted to do was find patients that would recover and document that journey where they recover and the patients' families and stuff. And one of the patients and his brother-in-law was amazing. Let us into, I mean, that's the thing, to be that vulnerable. And they don't know whether we're going to do a good job or not, like in terms of telling that story at that point in time, but then to let us into their lives. And what had happened is that his brother actually had a really bad turn for the worse that morning. And that was at a point where we were allowed in the ICU, but obviously the patients' families weren't allowed in the ICU.
God.
So we were getting information and finding out stuff and going and seeing the patients' families. So I mean, that to me was like a really kind of weird scenario, but fortunately he did recover. But that morning, both of his kidneys had failed and so on, and so we were kind of coming out. The doctor was like, it's not good news. Do you mind us filming this? And he was like, yes, it's fine. But then, that for me as a kind of documentary filmmaker definitely was like, you start thinking, what is this right? But then you've got to tell that story and you've got to do it justice. And that was their motivation as well. Of like, a lot of people were saying this isn't such a dangerous thing. Oh, it's okay and stuff. But then actually that was the motivation of the patient's family. It was very brave of them to say, actually, no, this is why, we've got to take this thing seriously, So, yeah.
Dubai has, of course, been praised for how the government reacted to the pandemic, and we as people have felt very fortunate to be here. You're saying you were there for the strategy. What was it like behind the scenes? And like, where are we talking about? Like up high, like talking to various stars?
They'd never let me in those meetings.
What was it like behind the scenes in the strategy meetings?
Meeting them. And obviously, look, I'm not going to be invited to, the chat with the top boy. No, not yet. I don't think. Yeah,
not yet.
Not yet. Leave it a few years. But actually, what was amazing about it, because actually a lot of the decision makers, a lot of the people enacting the decision making, obviously you had the senior leadership and so on. who were making the main decisions, but then you had the Crisis Command Centre, which were a lot of people from the universities, right? So, you know, you had like the dean of the Mohammed bin Rashid University, who was like the main guy there. And actually, it kind of made sense, right? Because a lot of these guys were scientists. And so a lot of the decisions were being made due to science, because at that point in time, nobody knew anything about like COVID-19. They didn't know the impact. They didn't necessarily know how best to deal with everything from testing to vaccinations and things like that. So I thought, I mean, it was very interesting to see A, the personnel doing it, and B, like how they actually made those decisions, you know. So it was, yeah, real privilege, but you know, I wasn't party to like, you know, the big conversations, I'm afraid.
Maybe for the next one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Next
Hopefully there
documentary.
isn't a next pandemic.
No, yeah,
but,
no, not the next pandemic, the next documentary. Imagine that.
Not the day. Not the day for
I mean,
that.
with monkeypox on the horizon.
Yeah.
But I want to ask, like, with an outside perspective, you look at Dubai and how they have handled the pandemic. So what would you say are some of the key factors that have made it easier for Dubai to handle the pandemic compared to other countries with bigger populations?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, there's decision making at the top. It didn't like go in and out and like you're in lockdown, out of lockdown there. I think there was a kind of course that was set and they stuck to it, and that's great. But then actually having met a lot of like the business community, the kind of community at large and stuff, actually I think it's a real testament to just Dubai, right? That kind of, a lot of people in Dubai are quite resilient and kind of go-getter types, you know. And,
law-abiding.
And it was, exactly. They stuck to the rules and stuff. But then also,
So
I think if you look at the kind of the business, some of the business stories, there was a lot of innovation that went on. And I think in other countries, people were happy to sit at home and kind of do nothing and take handouts. Whereas here, I think a lot of people actually got off their backsides and tried to make good of what was a really difficult situation. I think all of that kind of combined kind of culminated in where we are, like now. I genuinely believe that, yeah.
Simran briefly mentioned monkeypox, and of course the first case was reported yesterday. And I don't want to like be scaremongers or anything like that, because I understand that we have a platform. But what are your thoughts on the first case being announced in the UAE?
I don't.
Is the camera out?
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't really have an opinion on it now. Apparently, it's not as contagious as you know, COVID and you know, smallpox vaccination. Yeah,
exactly.
But I think a lot of the imagery looks pretty bad, and so I think that kind of scares people a bit more. But it doesn't sound like it's. Famous last words. I don't think I should probably be commenting too much on it.
Do you detach yourself, like with all the experiences you've had, and like you see, like you said, you know, you saw patients one day and the next day they weren't there. So someone who's upfront in these situations, you have to detach yourself completely, or do you go home and really think about it and ponder on those thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think you can help, but when you're filming, you're only thinking about making the story, but yeah, there are a couple of occasions when you go back and you're like, oh my goodness, and then it kind of all sinks in. But you can't. There are a couple of moments on the shoot with a few of the crew members and so on, you know, slightly younger crew members, but it's a bit like the doctors dealing with the patients and stuff. You know, they've got a job to do and they can't kind of like.
Very true. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird kind of dubious privilege to kind of be there, you know what I mean? You're not quite sure.
Yeah, we understand. As journalists, we completely
Get it.
understand. Yeah.
So it came out in two parts, and I think the second part came out just a week or two ago, May 14th.
Yeah, so it went out on Discovery. I think it's on Discovery Plus now, so that's on Stars Play and Jowie platforms, both parts. So
What has the reaction been like since it came out? And I'm assuming people can see it all over the world?
Yes, I believe so. A lot of that's down to Discovery, but I'm pretty sure it's around the world. Yeah, yeah, it's been amazing reaction. Like, which is wonderful. Like, as I say, I think, especially with the medical stuff, you just want to do them justice, quite frankly. And I think we've done that. I hope we've done that, and done Dubai justice as well. So yeah, so far I haven't had too many like bad phone calls or anything yet.
Not too many. Some.
No. It's all right.
You've had some. What were the numbers?
Oh dear.
Anything that you asked to cut out and not include in the documentary? Any parts?
No. There were stories we wanted to go after but couldn't.
It's a safe space.
It's not that safe. Like with anything, right? You can't. You want to go after a load of different stories, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes people are willing to kind of put themselves out there. Sometimes people aren't. So yeah, that's just like the mold of making a documentary. You know, you start off with a full plan, like you literally write like 20, 30 pages worth of a treatment of how this whole thing's going to pan out, and it never pans out that way. You know, you have to be reactionary to the situation, and that's because some people. But I'm not going to name names, I'm afraid. So nice try.
But look, no. In all, it's a 2-part documentary. It's available on Discovery, Stars Play, and it's out now for your viewing. I've only seen snippets, so I can't wait to kind of really sit down and enjoy it, because, like we said before, it's a testament to the trials and tribulations of scariest period of our lives, and you've documented that. And I think we in Dubai are so kind of, I guess, proud of how the city handled the pandemic. So to be able to like watch it in documentary form is amazing. That is Phil Griffiths, award-winning director. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Stay safe and please wash your hands. Bye-bye.
Goodbye from me.